Hey, welcome to my channel, Chill with Vespercrest 98. I'm a Twitch streamer, so you can often find me on Twitch streaming Zelda games, Fortnite, Mario Kart, Skyrim. Those are the games that I like a lot. I like all kinds of games. I like old games, I like new games, I like shooter games, I like open world games. So go find me on Twitch. I love talking to people while I play video games, and I always learn different ideas and ways to do things from other people. So I hope when you watch my video today, you'll be inspired to make some of your own creative builds from these basic builds that I show you. So today I want to go over several different kinds of builds you can basically just use using your Ultra Hand ability. We've all seen really funny and cool and inspiring things that people have built in Tears of the Kingdom, and sometimes that's just what's fun to do. To just take a day, take an evening to try and build something creative. And that's another one of the brilliant things about this game is so you're tired of fighting enemies and you're stuck on a puzzle and you don't know how you're going to get across that chasm. Just go have some fun and build something. So today I'm going to go over what I call tiny tanks and their abilities to, I guess, go to battle with enemies. I think they're technically called homing carts. Different land builds that I've made, basic land builds, basic sky flying devices, and some basic water builds. And I'm gonna try for the first time ever to make an airplane. So we're gonna start off by going to the Upland Zorana Sky View Tower. Woohoo! This is my favorite place to go to make a basic flying device, and in the beginning when I first started playing the game, I loved coming here to practice making a basic flying device, learning how to fly, and experimenting with what distances I could go based upon the stamina I had, so on and so forth. And it's just kind of generally fun. And there's a really fun gumball machine here. I also feel like I really got skills when I can fall into that hole perfectly. Okay, so the cool thing about that turn wheel is you don't have to get the fan itself. You just have to get whatever part of it, shake it off, and it'll disconnect. And you have everything you need here. You've got basic flying wing devices, you've got a rolling cart, you've got a fan, and a beautiful sunset. So it worked out perfectly this time, but you can move that turnstile to give yourself the perfect launch pad. Make sure that you just have enough room and it won't get caught on anything. It's easiest to build this from upside down. Be aware anytime you add a rolling cart to something that it might roll away. Of course, if you forget, you can try and use rewind to get it back. So try and get that rolling cart as centered as possible. I played around with like a couple of different dynamics, and then the fan directly on the tail, because balance really does matter. Otherwise you'll like nosedive like a roller coaster. So you can either make extreme turns or small turns depending on how you just walk around on the winged flying device. And just as a reminder, no matter how many batteries you put on here, the winged flying device is eventually going to just give out. It only lasts for a certain amount of time. So I don't know the answer to that. If somebody else knows how to make them last longer, please make a comment in the comment section so that the rest of us can know what to do. Okay, next up we have tiny tanks, or I think more technically called homing carts. I love these. I mean, they're just fun and hilarious, really. So I want to test like how accurate they can be and like how much damage they can do. So I'm gonna try and just like ride on it like it's a tank, I suppose, and see if I'm protected, if it like deals enough damage to be worth it. So let's just see what happens. And I definitely in this rain do not want to deal with any kind of an electric enemy of any kind, so and in general, unless I'm fighting like a specific enemy that I know certain weapons or techniques are gonna be the best for them, I like to always be walking around with a spear, just for when I run into any kind of like enemy, I can just deal with them without them being able to get too close to me. Perfect. Let's see how these work against jelly chews, which are not all that powerful, but super annoying. Choo jellies, excuse me. Am I the only person that has my own name for like everything? Surely not. Alright, so that was decent. I still got dealt some damage myself, but it took them out. Let's see what happens with a Losfonzo. Okay, it seems a little confused. It's not quite going in the right direction. I wonder if like the rain is affecting it, because when I used the tiny tanks or homing carts in that first shrine where you get introduced to them, I mean, they have a homing beacon. They are like seeker missiles. They know exactly where they're going, and I'm not getting that impression right now, and I'm getting hurt. Okay, we're a little bit out of the rain. Let's see if that helps. It does. Okay, they do seem to be like kind of doing a little bit better job of following the enemy. Oh no, we're turning sideways again. I'm sure if I like really spent a long time on this, I would know the best way to use them, but I don't know if this is the thing that I'm gonna spend a lot of time on. That could maybe make a really funny stream later down the road, but I think we're just experimenting with a couple of different ideas here today. Alright, they are somewhat on target but not moving very fast. I'm trying to give them a chance. Yes, you got it. I want to see them make the final blow, and I think they're gonna get it. I just need to hide. Okay, they did it. Okay. 3 basic tiny tanks with me nowhere in sight will take care of the enemies. That's their basic function. Good to know. So what can we try next? A stronger enemy? I love this area of the beach because there's so much equipment around. There's batteries, there's wooden boards, there's wheels, various different types of wheels, there's the steering component. So there's just a lot of different options to pick up along the beach. So it's a great place to experiment with just building and not having to use up all of your own resources. Okay, we've got 6 tiny tanks. They look so ready to go. Just precious, really, and I'm excited to see how this goes. Although I've fought a lot of Hinoxes and I know their classic move. Let's see how it goes. I believe in you, tiny tanks. Strength in numbers, right? Here here we go. 6 tiny tanks against like kind of a basic Hinox. And that one little fella's not giving up. But I would already call this a not success. I don't want to say failure. Maybe it was a failure. They're all gone. You tried, tiny tanks. I believe in you. And here we have literally the best in Japanese engineering, the super tiny tank shield thing. I mean, we've got beam emitters, shock emitters, cannons, flame emitters. I don't know what else you could ask for in a crazy build in Tears of the Kingdom. So this has got to do it. We've got our batteries. We're ready for battle. Let's do this, tiny tanks. You are ready to go. You got the upgrade. You went through the whatever that was that Captain America went through, and you went from being just Steve Rogers to Captain America. I'm gonna help them out because I want to see how this goes. I want to see if the tiny tanks with the super shields can take out this Hinox. And we already saw the Hinox classic move, kaboom. I want to see what they can do. I want to see if they can make the final blow. Or at least like put a really good dent into this Hinox. More batteries, more power. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this goes. And kaboomy! Fire! Cannons! Beams! Shocks! Ooh! One down. We're getting somewhere though, we're not giving up. Yeah. And let me tell you, and I'll show in another video, if you haven't worked with cannons very much, just so you know, they will, if you don't have it set up far enough away from you, they will just blow you up. So use cannons with planning, pre-production. They're awesome, but they are crazy. They're kind of a, no pun intended, a loose cannon. Okay, we're recharging. Getting a little tune-up. Perfect. Perfect. Come back, Hinox. We still got business with you. Yes, you. We're getting there. Look at that. Look at that. We're like, what? 1/4 of the way there? Or rather, 1/4 of, let me start over. We're 3/4 of the way there. 75% of the way there. Although, I've been at this for a while, so I think I'm gonna summon some friends just to speed up the process, but I would really like for this tiny tank contraption to deal the final blow on this Hinox. We're getting it, we're getting it. Ooh, wait. Whoa. Do we still have a tiny tank? I don't think so. Oh no! We lost the tiny tanks. They did what they could in the time that they were with us. So, I guess the conclusion to this experiment is that tiny tanks are awesome, but need some help. They can at least put some distance between you and a big enemy. Alright. Let's just take care of that fella there. So, like I said, I love just hanging out at this beach. There's so much materials, there's so much gear, there's so much that you can just pick up for free as you scavenge along the beach. There's batteries, there's wheels, there's wooden planks that you can use to make anything without having to use up your own materials that you've worked really hard for and traveled literally all over Hyrule for. So we're gonna try and make a basic water build here. So is it winter where you are? It's winter where I am, but that doesn't mean that you can't go enjoy the beach and the beautiful sunset and the warm water. Mostly. Alright, so after my roommate and I did a lot of experimenting, we have found for a lot of vehicles, rather than using a board straight on, turning it so that it's like a diamond helps out a lot, because it helps for your wheels or whatever to not get caught on rocks, which always happens, or any of the other things that you find on the ground or in the water in Hyrule. So please let me know what you've experimented with and what you've come up with in the comments section. I would love to know what other people have found to be successful, but I would say this is kind of my go-to, to use the diamond shape of sorts rather than just like a straightforward square or rectangle like we think of it. And additionally, be very aware that if you're using a wooden plank and say some rude enemy comes and interrupts your build, if they or you are using any kind of fire, it will go up in flames. I know this is really obvious, but sometimes when I'm in the heat of battle, I forget things. So just keep that in mind. And also, sometimes you don't know until you're there what kind of arrows the enemy is going to be using. So if you can use something other than a wooden plank, that's awesome. But like I said, I'm not in the mood to use up all of my own supplies when I'm just playing around. Okay. Prototype basic watercraft number 1. And I happen to know that there's another really obnoxious Octorot over here, so let's just go ahead and take care of them. It's like there's so many enemies that are like... I mean, you get some good supplies from them, but they're kind of more just annoying than really a threat, and they use up your weapons. That's something that's really good about having the sages, is that they can take care of a lot of these more minor enemies that aren't really a threat. They're just like in your way, and they're gonna cut down on your health as you're headed to do something else. So I don't mind having the sages around, even though, oh dear, we're sinking. Okay, we're gonna have to rethink this. Prototype number 2. What are we gonna do? Anyways, I don't mind having the sages out, even though sometimes I accidentally activate them. Because a lot of times, like, a little enemy will come about, and I'm kind of focusing on what I'm doing, and they'll either notice it or take care of it before I even have to worry about it. Okay, this is definitely gonna float, because you know what? Physics works. in Tears of the Kingdom. Mostly. I mean, I would say basic logical physics. Like, what we would think would work seems to work. Gravity will get you. I'm liking this. This is gonna be good. We're gonna have a fun time. Woohoo! Beach day in Hyrule. So I did kind of go against my rule on the diamond shape, but we needed to be able to float, so here we are. And just like being at the beach, it is all of a sudden rainy and a thunderstorm. Totally typical. Okay, so now what can we do? We've come to another part of the beach with more batteries, which is awesome. So we don't have to use up our own supplies. And some hardcore wheels. Let's use those. Okay. Let's make an all-terrain vehicle. How about that? That way we can have the best of both worlds. So, again, there is the ability to just automatically remake things that you've built before, but they use up a lot of my like zonite and construct stuff that I've worked really hard to get and fought a lot of obnoxious enemies to get. And every time we fight enemies, they overall power up. So I'm not against just building it myself. I've been playing this game for about probably 200 to 250 hours, and I'm not sick of building things yet. But I know a lot of people are about efficiency and time, saving time, and I'm like, I'm just happy to be here in Hyrule, so that might be part of it for me. Like, I could totally see this process just driving some people crazy. Like, how many people have friends that beat this game in a week? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna make this just for like a year. I didn't even play Breath of the Wild until 2020, so I haven't even been waiting as long for this game as most people. And even I am like, no. I mean, there was a time when I was checking the internet every single day for updates on this game, like back when they were first saying it's gonna happen. And I am not in a hurry to beat it. Uh-oh. I think I see a flaw in my design. We'll see. But you probably see it too. It's because I built it upside down, thinking of it going in a certain direction. But yeah. Look at all these free batteries. How wonderful. We're backwards. Let's just tidy this up real quick. Ta-da! And we're good. We're good. Sorry, crabs, get out of the way. Hey, little Koroks. Oof. Let's see how this holds up against some Mokoblins. You can't mess with me. I'm a big vehicle. I got a big truck with big wheels. And let's go to the beach again. We're gonna make a basic land build. I think you can only attach 16 items together. Like, there was a time when I was just trying to make like super tanks, and I think that's kind of a bummer. Like, I see people building super cool things and I'm like, there has to be more than like 16 items there. If you've experienced something different, or you know workarounds where it doesn't count as 16 items, or maybe that was just some sort of bad day that I had and it was like you can only have 16 items attached together. Let me know in the comments section. Of course, like, a basic but not totally fixing it workaround would be to just add batteries as you go. But when you're making a super tank, or maybe a giant robot, you're gonna need a lot of items. So I imagine people, I don't know, but I imagine people who built like really, really cool stuff, maybe they have a mod of sorts, or they just have like access to the game in a state where they can like kind of play around more. For me, a lot of times it is easier. Well, first of all, I like to bring the items in using AllTerrain like really close to myself, because I feel like I have a lot more accuracy. It's kind of like holding, like, if you had like a really long board or pole and you were trying to do something specific with it, it's a lot easier to have it near you for accuracy, and it's the same way here. Like, in the beginning, oh my gosh, what was the first? It was like one of the first things you had to do in order to get to the water temple. And I like had to make this super long plank to get to this place that was in the center, kind of high up. And it was like, the longer it was, the more unmanageable it was, and it would just like fall forward and back. I'm like, okay, well, I have to applaud the accuracy of physics in this game. I guess I don't need a fan here. I don't know why. Oh, I probably added a fan because I wanted this to be an all-terrain vehicle. It could be if it's got a fan, but those wheels aren't going to do so well, so whatever. Maybe it'll add speed, but here we are with a crooked fan on the back of our basic ground build vehicle. Yeah, I think this is actually one of the prototypes I made for the first all-terrain vehicle I made. And that might be what I was going for, but ended up doing something much grander. I definitely want to make a super tank again. I did that, you know, to fight the Hinox, and again it just smashes everything. But I really just wanted to like be able to drive through Hyrule and be invincible. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, not gonna work in the water. That's okay. We'll go back to the land. There's nothing. We just need to get past this Hinox. Nothing to see here, buddy. We're just passing by. Don't want any trouble. Please go back to now. Thank you. Yeah, we're just, you know what? We're just beach scavenging right now. We're just seeing what we can find. But That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 necessary items, not including batteries. So you could just fill it up with batteries and not have to stop for a really long time. This would be really, this is so basic that this really would be good for just traveling around Hyrule. If you just load it up with batteries. Sure, use a horse, but we all know that the horses are a little bit temperamental, even the ones that like you a lot and have the highest statistics, you know. Yeah, let's add something here to make this more of like a basic tank. See if we can take out some enemies along the way. Like maybe the Lofonzo. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Lofonzo. Lofonzo. Let's find out. I think it'll tell us. Boom. Alright. I don't think it got shocked, but it got hit. It didn't tell me what it was. No wonder I don't know what anything is. Boy. I can already tell this is just going to be more trouble than it was worth. Like, sometimes it's just more worth it to use Ultra Hand and, like, poke things to death than it is to, like, go with your original plan. It's raining now, and you've got electricity. You know what, just running into it is kind of going far, so. How many people have done that? Like, it's embarrassing, but happens to us, I suppose. In the heat of battle. Yeah. I don't see this. What is it, an electric shock emitter? Yeah. That's a no-go. Alright. So, I've never done anything quite this big. Let's see if we can build an airplane. I have basic design in mind, and I've never tried this before, so it could be a complete and total failure. But let's hope not. Let's hope that the Tears of the Kingdom engineering gods are on our side today. So, thinking six total. No, 5 total. 5 total. And again, like even when you're just using one of these, like if it's not placed correctly, if you have too much weight in one area, it's just gonna nosedive up and down like a roller coaster. So I think I'm just gonna have to see what happens and adjust from there. These things are a little bit hard to manage, especially the bigger they get. So I'm gonna practice. A lot of times I will practice with flipping them up and down. right? I mean, remember Breath of the Wild when like you had to climb all the time? It's like it's raining again. How wonderful. That's probably the main reason why they added the Ascend ability. And then, I mean, I don't know about all of you. I'm not complaining. Breath of the Wild is one of the absolute best games ever. But I didn't get the Rito ability to jump really high until later in the game because it was like the third. I think probably because I was familiar with the Gorons and familiar with the Zora, that those were the first two I went to, and I think it kind of encourages you to go to the Zora first anyways. So I didn't get that really high jump ability until like 75% of the game through after you beat whichever Ganon that was. And a lot of climbing. A lot of climbing. I always like think I feel a little bit guilty how much I put Link through, like running and climbing wise, like, and I'm like, everything I make Link do, I should do myself. But that's not realistic, and this is a game, and I have to remember that. Not reality. I mean, imagine if we had to do everything that Mario did. Holy moly. Okay, also, like I said before, if you're gonna be adding rolly carts to stuff, just be aware of the terrain you're on, or turn it upside down, or else your beautiful build will roll away. And that's embarrassing, even if no one's watching. My tummy is so noisy right now. Okay. We're getting places, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the audience. I'm excited. It at least looks nice. Like, that's somewhat evenly balanced. We've got obviously more weight in the front, but it's kind of balanced out by making a V in the back, kind of like birds. Birds make V's, right? You know, this is not that, but in some ways it's logical. Two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. Alright, cool. We're like about halfway there on the amount of items we can stick on a thing. What are some of, I don't want to just know like the coolest builds, you can tell me. Like the coolest builds that you've made, but like what are the biggest fails you've had? Like it was just hilarious. You worked forever and ever on this thing and it just, because that happens to me a lot. Ugh. Like the amount of times I've just like worked so hard on something and a Hinox just crushed it, or it just flipped upside down on me. I mean, it's like, it's a comedy for sure. It's like a slapstick comedy a lot of times. So yeah, tell me in the comment section, what are the biggest fails you've had that you had to laugh at yourself. Yeah, false. Just a false takeoff. Let's try this again. Nope. Meh. Same issue. Yeah, let's make this more of a straight line than a V and see how that goes. I mean, moving these things around is kind of clunky. So it takes some patience. Just breathe. It can get annoying. It can get tedious. Oh, come on. We've come this far, you can't even like put the stinking steering wheel on there. Boom. Look at that, what a beauty. Let's give it a nice launching pad. Oh my god. I think we've done it. Oh my god. What a beauty. It flies so well. I mean, who am I kidding? I did this like 2 days ago, so I'm not surprised. But it still feels really good. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you were inspired and you learned a few things and you're able to make your own builds of all kinds and skip over some of the mistakes, the learning curve that I had to make when learning how to do some basic stuff. Again, I'm often on Twitch playing games and I love talking to people while I play video games. So I hope to see you there. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video and be on the lookout for more.